Okay. Another main thing that you want to do is you want to get rid of the bad oils out of your diet. Now, the best oil that you can eat is extra virgin olive oil. Other good oils are like raw coconut oil, almonds, raw nuts and seeds. They have good oils. The oils you want to stay away from are hydrogenated oils. That's in like margarine. I stay away from butter. Some people say butter is good, but I stay away from it. Stay away from the deep fried foods. All that's hydrogenated oil. Stay away from Crisco. Most of the fast foods, all that oil is probably really bad. Soybean oil, stay away from that. So you really want to have a good, cut out all the bad oils. And also when you cook oils, it damages the oils. But I've never noticed a super big difference that, that I can tell, but there's no way that I can actually tell, what the oil is doing to me. I mean, I feel the same, but there's a good chance that, it's not as good as being raw. Like the other tactics, you'll notice definitely the way that you feel. You'll know that you feel a lot better when you stick to those, to the other things. But as far as cooking the oil or not, I can't feel a difference. But to be on the safe side, I believe in science and stuff. So it's best to stay away from hydrogenated oil especially. I mean, they know that stuff clogs your arteries. And so you want to add a bunch of extra virgin olive oil into it. Okay, another thing that you probably want to do is to gradually start cutting down on your amount of sodium intake. You should have already cut out the table salt, and so basically you don't want to eat barely any table salt. You want your salt to be sea salt. That's one of the major things that's going to help your success, is to have the sea salt, because that makes the foods taste good. But over time, once you are really eating the really clean foods anyway, it's probably best if you start gradually cutting down on your salt intake. Now, you don't want to cut down on your salt intake all of a sudden crazy, because your body changes the absorption rate of the absorption rate and the excretion rate of the salt. So if you're already eating tons of salt, then your body's going to not be absorbing the salt as fast, and it's going to be excreting it super fast. And so it changes these rates, and it does it gradually. So you want to just gradually lower your sodium intake. If you quit salt all of a sudden, you'll probably get dehydrated, because salt is a major electrolyte. And also another one of your electrolytes is sugars. So you don't want to just not necessarily sugars, but carbs. I mean, most carbs are, maybe all carbs are going to turn to sugar anyway, eventually through the digestive process. But sugars and carbs are one of your electrolytes too, because that's one of the reasons why people that go on the really strict Atkins, see, a lot of people don't know that Atkins diet, eventually you start taking in carbs. Most people, when they think the Atkins diet, they just know the beginning phase where they put you in ketosis and they cut out all the carbs. But really long term, he recommends to start adding all the vegetables and carbohydrates back into your diet. So you have to have carbs. So now you might want to cycle, if you want to lose weight, then you can cycle through different amounts of low, you can go lower fat, cycle through that, and try low carb, and cycle through these different phases of eating, and write all this stuff down and see what makes you lose the most weight the fastest. But you can't stay in a super low fat phase forever. You can't do that. It's not healthy. You can do it temporarily. It can be fine. So you want to cycle through these different phases of eating. And you want to get a variety of foods into your diet. And that's the way to get the most nutrients out of it, is to eat a bunch of, a good combination of foods. Eat that kind of combination, stay in that phase for as long as you feel good. And once that stuff starts not tasting as good, cycle into another phase, and in a digestively compatible phase and eat a bunch of that kind of stuff, and try another phase and constantly be experimenting, trying new recipes and new phases. Okay, so another thing that you're going to want to do on this diet is, I know this sounds really basic and simple, but a lot of us, and even me, I mean, it really takes a long time to make this a habit, but you really need to take all your food and chew it up really, really good to a liquid. You should really chew your food at least 3 times longer than you do now, probably, and you can't over chew your food. You want your food to be liquid. A lot of people will just take something and barely chew it like 3 times and swallow it. And one of the reasons is people a lot of times eat with other people, and people will be talking, and so you'll be chewing on something, somebody will ask you a question, and instead of, chewing your food, as long as, sometimes it might take a while to chew up whatever's there, but you don't want to be rude and not answer their question right away, so you just swallow that thing whole. Now, this goes on probably with just about anybody. So this is very important. You want to chew your food to a liquid. So really, I mean, I know nobody's going to do this, but the best way to eat would be to play the silent game at the table. I know nobody's going to do this, but really, you want to chew all your food up to a liquid, especially nuts and seeds. You want to chew those up to a liquid, and this is very important with nuts and seeds because they are sharp. And if you swallow them whole, then they can slice the inside of your intestines. And if you start getting sliced in there and you start bleeding, then that means that the stuff in your stomach, undigested food, is mixing with the blood or it can. And you can't go in there and put a Band-Aid on it. You can't even go in there and see. But you don't want to start slicing up your insides of your body. So nuts and seeds, you want to make sure that you chew them up good. And I've eaten sunflower seeds before, didn't chew them up good. And I mean, you can tell something in there is hurting really bad. So you want to always chew your food up really good. That is one of the reasons why smoothies digest so good.